All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm wondering, Heidi, do we want to record this session? Okay, I'll go ahead and record it. So you are being recorded, though I don't see anyone on my screen, so you don't have to worry about that. Record on this computer. All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Jennifer LaRock, and I am the support administrator for Virtual School. I have been with Jefferson Elementary School District for 16 years. 10 of those, I was a site administrator, and for the last 6, I've been in the district office. Tonight, I am joined on the call with our Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Heidi Joyner, and some of our wonderful translators. So thank you all for joining us. Hopefully you received an email from us on August 14th and again this morning. If you received that email, you are confirmed for virtual school. If you have not received that email, but you believe you should be confirmed for virtual school, please check your spam email address. And if maybe perhaps your email address is not up to date with the district office, you might want to check with the district office tomorrow, because that will be our main communication tool. So you definitely want to make sure that we have your correct email address on file. So we have a presentation to share with you this evening. So if you were on the call with us in late July, you'll see some of the same slides, and we hope this is going to give you a better understanding of what our program looks like and our expectations for the program. School does start in just a couple of days. So at the end of the presentation, we will have some time for Q&A. And please know that we do have a virtual school tab on our district webpage. If you go to the district webpage, there's a link at the top that says COVID-19 at-home learning. You click on that, and then that will take you to another page, and along the top it'll say virtual school. If you click on virtual school, our page will come up with information about the school. And if you scroll to the very bottom, I have all the emails that have been sent home are archived there. So if you think maybe you've missed an email, you can find all of the emails there. Just want to pause here for a moment to make sure all of our friends that are streaming on YouTube can hear us. I think we're good, Heidi. Do you think, Bruce, that I should continue, or do you want to wait a minute to?
I can pull up the YouTube page and double check real quick.
Check me out. See if you can hear me. Thank you for bearing with us. Just want to make sure that most people can get the information that they need. Just waiting for the all clear. Okay, I'm getting a thumbs up that I can be heard on YouTube. All right, lucky you, everybody.
Yeah,
great.
I heard you as well. So
okay, good. Good. So again, if you want to go to that webpage, if you have any questions, I would stop there first. And of course, if the question is not being answered, then of course, reach out to us. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now and get the presentation started. All right, so tonight we're going to go over what a daily schedule is going to look like for the next couple of days, and then also for the weeks to come, because the schedule will look a little bit different. We're going to go over our teachers and our students and who's in the program, show you some of our staff that will be working with your children, and talk about any family support that needs to be happening at home, as well as school support, and then what kind of communications we will be using moving forward. So I know this is kind of a hot topic on my email inbox, is what is happening on Wednesday, and am I prepared for Wednesday? So This week is obviously a little bit different than the rest of the school year for obvious reasons. I do want to note that we're trying to make it as much of a traditional school opening as possible. So never in a traditional school do we start curriculum on the very first day. We really want to take this opportunity for this first week to really get to know your child, have your child get to know their new teacher, have your child get to know their new classmates. This is obviously it's a different challenge for teachers to build community in their classrooms when we don't actually get to see each other and interact. So we've really asked them to take these 3 days to really build a community within their classroom online. So things that we will be doing. So Wednesday is going to look a little different. So Wednesday is broken up to those who already have their technology and those who have not yet picked up their technology. Every school site has a different pickup day for their technology. So you definitely want to check with your home school to see which day they're passing out technology if you have not already. Some of those schools is Wednesday is the pickup day. If your home school has Wednesday as their pickup day, don't stress out about logging on at 8:30. You're not going to miss anything. You're not going to get docked. We're not going to call the SAR board because you didn't come to school on Wednesday. For you, and I guess I'm jumping ahead of myself, so I'll come down here. So if your child does not have a Chromebook, you're going to find out when you can pick up your child's Chromebook at school if you need it. If you already have something at your home, great, fantastic, log on, you're ready to go. Another thing we're asking you to do Wednesday after you pick up your technology is to set up your classroom. What is your classroom going to look like? Are you sitting at the desk? Are you sitting at the kitchen table? Do you have a spot in your room? Kind of dress it up, make it an exciting place to go in the morning, someplace that you're going to be all day. And then, of course, we have lunch pickup too. So all virtual school students are are eligible to pick up our school lunch. And Wednesday is one of our pickup days. Again, the lunch pickup and the times are all listed under the virtual school tab on the website. Those of you that have your Chromebook and you are ready to log on and meet your teacher, they would love to meet you on Wednesday morning at 8:30. Now, 8:30 might sound really early if you have been someone that has been sleeping in, but we have got to get back in the school routine, and we plan on doing that on Wednesday. So if you have your Chromebook and you're set to go, tomorrow, your teacher will send you an email. Now, this email might not get to you until the evening, but it is coming. You will get an email from your teacher with a Zoom link. The Zoom link is all you need right now. I had some parents trying to log on and get their own login information from eduannuity. You don't need to do any of that. We are going to give it all to you. First thing, all you need is that Zoom link that your teacher is going to email to you at some time tomorrow before you go to bed. You're going to log on to that link on Wednesday morning at 8:30. The day is going to be a little shorter. We plan on being offline before lunch. We're going to spend a lot of time logging on and logging off, interviewing your teacher. Your teacher might interview you, do some scavenger hunts, talk about what you did this summer, lots of getting to know you activities, again, to build a sense of community. So Wednesday is going to be a low-key day. Log on if you can. If you can't log on, set up your desk area. Get ready for Thursday. Thursday, same thing. You're going to have that same Zoom link. You're going to log back on and chat with your teacher in the morning. They're going to have some great activities lined up. It will also be a shortened day. Depending on what grade level you are in, you will be logged off by lunchtime. And also, just because you log on at 8:30 doesn't mean you're staying on that call until lunchtime. The teacher's going to try some tricks. Can you log off? Can you log back on? Can you log on at 10:52? We're just getting the kids used to logging on and logging off and working through the program with us. Friday would be the earliest day that we would introduce the children to curriculum. We are going to see how we're doing, see how we're building routines in place. And if we feel confident that our classroom is ready to move forward, we will possibly introduce eduannuity. We will give them all the logins, we will give them their password, and we will talk them all through how to log on, how to get their lessons. Again, this is going to be a process. There will be speed bumps. I guarantee it. But we will get through it. We will get through it together. And by mid-September, we are going to be rocking and rolling. So this week, everybody needs to take a deep breath. We're going to get to know you. We're going to get through it. We're not going to worry about writing 5-paragraph essays on Wednesday. We're going to have fun and get the kids used to being on Zoom again and used to seeing classmates and used to a new teacher. Once we get rocking and rolling, the schedules will start to shift a little bit. Now, the schedule that you're seeing here, it is a sample. Every teacher will have their own schedule for their own grade, for their own class. This is a sample of what you can expect. One thing is for certain is every single morning, Monday through Friday, your child will need to log on at 8:30 with that same Zoom link that you're going to get tomorrow. That is how we are taking roll. And students need to attend just as if it was traditional school. If they do not show up at that 8:30 call, we are going to count them as absent and you will be getting a phone call home. And the same rules apply. After you have 3 absences, then you get a phone call from the principal. After you get 30 minutes of tardies, you get a phone call from the principal. We don't want to do that. So we are just going to make sure everybody is logged on at 8:30. Of course, things come up. You get a rolling blackout, your connectivity is off, that's fine. Just let the teacher know that you're working through it or you need support to work through it, and we will get you logged on. We know things come up, but the standard is we hope to have everyone logged on at 8:30. The teacher's going to give a little welcome to the school day. This is what your lessons are going to be today. Here's roll call. Don't forget to pick up lunch. A couple of announcements. The kids will then say goodbye to their teacher and they will log in to their Eduannuity account. We will get you all the login information. In the morning, they'll be watching 2 lessons, a language arts lesson and a math lesson. Movement time just means they get up, they run around, they run outside. No one wants to sit in front of a computer that long. So that is a free movement on their own. It's not run by the teacher. At 11 o'clock, and again, 11 o'clock, 11:30, you will get the final schedule once your teacher reaches out. There's going to be an hour block of time where that teacher will be meeting with a small group of students. If you are not in the small group with your teacher, you are doing independent reading. If you are logged on with your teacher, and your teacher will tell you if you will be, you are going over the lessons that you just watched, clarifying any questions that you might have about the lesson, or if she happens to be working with a group of kids who flew through the lesson and are ready for more, he or she, your teacher, will then push the kids and give them a little bit of differentiated instruction for the next day's lesson. We then break for lunch. After lunch, the students will log back on for a science and social studies video lesson. 4th through 8th grade, the times are a little bit different. We are abiding by the state instructional minutes for school this year. They are a little different than they have been in the past for obvious reasons. But you will see that the 4th through 8th graders actually do have more instructional minutes that they need to complete compared to the primary grades. I had a question come up today that what if my son or daughter cannot log back on after lunch to get their science and social studies lessons because somebody else needs to use the computer, or I have to go to work and I need to take my computer with me. No problem. All we ask is that that lesson is taken care of before they go to bed that night. So the next morning, they are caught up to date with their peers. The most important time is that they log on with their teacher at 8:30, and then they log on for support groups at 11:30, and to have watched those lessons in between. If they don't watch these lessons in between, when they get to their teacher time, they won't know what the teacher is either referring to, or they won't have questions for the teacher because they missed their morning lessons, and the teacher is going to catch on to that if they are not watching their lessons. Plus, the teacher also on their end of the computer can tell who's logged on and who has not logged on. So we need to do our best to make sure that our kids are keeping up to date with the curriculum. Of course, things come up and we can definitely talk about that. But this is the goal. This is the standard that we're reaching to. So this is kind of just a slide to let us know what's the teacher doing while the kids are on the lessons. So 8:30, they're on with your child. When the kids then log on to Eduannuity and watch their video lessons, the teachers are either A, watching the lessons as well. They are reviewing any of the work that the students are turning in so that they can prepare for that support group later in the afternoon. They are front loading some lessons for the next morning's call. And they are previewing any lessons that are going to be coming up so that they can alert the kids to what is coming up in the lessons either later that afternoon or the next morning. They too need a movement break, so they will be up and around from their computer as well. Then they will also be in the small live group sessions, just as your children will be. And then in the afternoon time, they have different days, they're doing different activities. They might be in a staff meeting. This would be a great time that if you need to have a conference with them, to reach out and say, hey, I know you have office hours at 1:30 on Tuesday. Can we have an appointment? And that would be a great time if you needed to chat with your child's teacher when you can do that. They also have some grade level collaboration. We have about 4 or 5 grade levels, 4 or 5 classes per grade level. So they've already done an amazing job of collaborating with their grade level. So you are really in for a treat. And then of course they need prep time. So we definitely threw in some prep time there for them. So expectations on your end of what we're looking for. We're looking for that 8:30 log on. And again, if they're not there at the 8:30 log on, they are absent from school. It does get reported up to the district office, which then does get reported to the state. So I'm not trying to freak you out, but we really need to pretend like this is traditional school and we need to take it seriously, and they need to log on at 8:30. They also need to log on for that support group. Whether or not they feel like they need support or they don't, the teacher will be there to help them through whatever needs that they have. And so they really need to have face-to-face contact with their teacher at the 11:30 time. Last year, when we moved into distance learning, we did it within a 24-hour time frame, and some of us call it crisis learning. We were trying to keep afloat and learn our profession like we were starting back on day one. And though our teachers did an amazing job, we have learned a lot from what we did and what we want to do and what we want it to look like. So again, I want to take the families back to make them think this is traditional school. We need to be dressed. Well, the teachers will be dressed, but your students, your children, need to be dressed. They cannot show up to school in their pajamas unless we're having a pajama spirit day, which we will, but typically they need to be dressed. They need to be at a table or a desk. They cannot be in their bed. They cannot be in the bathroom. They cannot be, on the sidewalk with their iPhone, walking down the street. They need to be dressed and at a desk. And the teachers are going to reiterate this as well. There is no eating on live calls. We do not eat in our classrooms in traditional school. We will not eat on live calls so if you have a cereal bowl, push it to the side. Again, just treat it like the kids are in their classroom. I know we have learning coaches in Eduannuity, and again, that's a critical point of Eduannuity. But when the teacher is talking to the children, there can't be other people trying to talk to the teacher. So lots of times last year, we kind of had a parent maybe sitting by asking the teacher questions. Well, your parent wouldn't do that in traditional school. So if the parent has a question, then we ask that you use the teacher office hours. Or maybe mom or dad are vacuuming in the background. We ask that we only see the students when they're live with their teachers. So this is basically when they do log into Eduannuity, which again, most likely will not be this week, but when we do get to Eduannuity, most of they're called them modules, but they're classes and lessons. They're going to be color coded. And so it'll make it really easy for your child to know what assignment they have to complete. And the teacher has the ability to activate assignments or deactivate assignments. So your teacher may say, today we're going to do the green lessons. So as you see here, the kids will have to log on to the green lesson. They click on the link, it will take them to the lesson. It's most likely a video, and they work through all the green lessons. The yellow lessons will be, hey, that's what's coming up tomorrow, or that's what's coming up next week. Don't worry about it now, but I want you to know tomorrow, be ready, because we've got, you know, an extension writing work and a spelling and a reading. So be ready for it. And then, these links will not be active unless the teacher makes them active. And then down here, that's coming up. Writing 3C, we're going to be doing that. Don't worry about it right now, but I kind of want you to see the roadmap that we're going on. Now, the colors may not be exactly what it is in the platform, but it's similar for each grade level. I am going to attempt to log on and show you a primary sample of what, if I can find my login information here, of what a primary lesson looks like on Edgenuity. So bear with me. Let's see if this works. Heidi, I can see you in my window, so if you cannot hear it, can you give me a thumbs down? Nothing's on yet. So here's what the lessons look like. Here's what I was talking about, the modules that you'll do. And then these, again, will be color-coded and activated if the teacher wants them to watch the lessons, or deactivated if teachers are not ready for them to go through. So I'm just going to click on a random one here. So the teacher is going to walk through the student through, and the learning coach, exactly how to work the program. But again, just for a sample.
Today, you will be busy practicing the short A sound, and you will work on capitalizing the first word in every sentence. You will also have one last chance to study your spelling words before your test. Let's start with a short A activity.
I'm just going to click through a couple of the slides so you kind of get the idea. Everything can be clicked on and be heard, read to the students.
Now it's time to play a game. To see how to play, click the directions button. To play the game, click the begin button.
I'm just going to begin.
In this game, listen to the letter pronounced and then type the correct letter into the box. Your short A words are missing their first sounds. Look at the picture, say the picture out loud, and listen for the first sound you hear. Type the letter that makes that first sound to complete your short A word.
P, F,
Okay, you get the idea. No, it's not going to let me.
R,
Okay, so you get the idea. Let me move on to a 4th grade sample. This is, I believe, a math lesson, if I did it correctly. It's a lesson about changing fractions to decimals and decimals to fractions. And what's
That must enter the latest data into the computer, but the fraction key is stuck.
A place value chart may be used to express fractions as decimals. The decimal point separates the ones place from the tenths place. To write the fraction 2 tenths as a decimal, simply write a 2 in the
So for the sake of time, I'm going to fast forward a little bit. The great thing that eduannuity does is that they show it to the students a couple of different ways. So if they didn't quite understand it that way, they move forward and they have the kids try to do it themselves. The kids have to type it in.
Equivalent for this fraction.
And then they show them how to do it on a calculator and what it looks like in a calculator. So they're showing them how to do it in lots of different ways. While interacting, they have to type in what they think the answer is. And the teacher on the other end is getting all this information. So when she goes into, or he goes into those support time sessions, she will, or he will know exactly who was able to get this concept and who was not. I'm just going to forward it a little bit to
decimal equivalent for each fraction. A decimal equivalent for this fraction is 6
Oh, boy.
hundredths.
Okay. Okay, you get the idea. So, and if you were with us in the early end of July, this is the same one that I showed earlier. So this is a middle school sample, and I'll get it up and running while I'm talking. And this, at the beginning of this sample, I'm going to let it run just a little bit longer.
Welcome to Eduannuity, where learning clicks. Now logging into Eduannuity is easy. Just
It's an 8-minute
username.
It's an 8-minute clip. I'm not going to make us watch the 8 minutes of it, but it does give a little bit more in-depth example for the middle school, what the Eduannuity platform looks like. Think Google Classroom, think how your teachers delivered messages to your students last spring. So it's going to walk through very briefly how to log in, what the students are going to see, and then it'll show you briefly what a lesson looks like in the middle school.
And your password at learn.eduannuity.com/student. Once you've logged in, your course list appears here in the lobby. Here you can also check new messages, including chat and email, and you can also view any new announcements. To access a course, just click its title. Once you've selected a course, you can view your progress right here. If you're on track, your progress will appear in blue. If you're ahead, you'll see your progress in green. But if you see your progress shown in red, it means you've fallen behind. You'll need to put in some extra time to get caught up. You can also view your overall grade. Notice that this student has an overall grade of 87.5%. That means he has a B+ on the work he has completed so far. Pretty good. But remember that this student is behind, so his actual grade takes that into account. Your actual grade factors in zeros for any activities you should have completed by now and haven't. If you're behind, your actual grade will always be lower than your overall grade. So you'll want to put in some extra time and get back on target to bring your actual grade back up. Now we're ready to jump into a lesson. For whatever course is selected, your current lesson and next activity are shown here. To get started, you can click Next Activity, or you can go to the course map. The course map shows you the entire structure of your course. Most activities will show up here as grayed out and locked unless your teacher has allowed you to move freely throughout the course. To work on any activity that's unlocked, click the activity title. This activity is a warm-up or introduction. Let's take a look.
Hi, I'm your instructor. Well, take a look at this drawing.
This activity starts with a video. You can pause and rewind the video at any time using the video controls here. If you've already watched the video the whole way through once, you can fast forward to the part you want to see again. However, you can't fast forward through any video segment you haven't watched yet. You do need to watch every video once all the way through. You can control the volume here. And you can turn captions on here. It's important to know that most of the important information you'll be tested on will be taught here in the videos. So pay attention and take good notes. You'll find your e-notes or digital notebook here. You can take notes at any time. Pause the video if you want to, or if you're a fast typist, you can take notes while the teacher is talking. Once you add a note to your notebook, you can go back and...
I'm going to fast forward just a little bit. He does some great tips, but I want to get to the point where he talks a little bit about the translation.
Back to the lesson word list, just close the word lookup window. The third tab contains... The video will pause, and you'll be asked to complete a task. On any task, you can use the tools in your toolbar. In math and science courses, you can use the built-in calculators to solve problems. Depending on the course, you might have access to a standard calculator, a graphing calculator, or other specialized calculators. In any course, you can highlight text. This can help you pay attention as you read, especially when you're asked to read extended articles and stories. If you have Read Aloud enabled, you can hear text read aloud. Just highlight what you want to hear and press the Read Aloud button.
The runner travels.
If you have translation enabled, you can change the languages of most on-screen text here. Some of these languages also work with the Read Aloud tool, so try it out.
Il grafico mostra la distanza.
Okay, I'm going to stop us there. I wanted to point out how many great tools are embedded within the eduannuity platform. There's no way we're going to learn these all by Friday, but little by little, we're going to introduce a new tool to the students throughout the school year. So by mid-year, they should have full use of all of their tools. But I don't want to overwhelm them. Teachers don't want to overwhelm them. We don't want to overwhelm the learning coaches. So we're really going to take this little steps at a time. So there was one thing that came up at the end of our July meeting, which was this idea that if you signed up for virtual school, that you were going to lose your spot at your home school. And we heard you. You were lots of anxiety, very anxious, didn't really understand why that was. So I want us all to take a deep breath and want you to know that we heard you. And there are some things that we have put in place to ensure letting you know that our priority is to get you back to your homeschools next year. One of the reasons that we could not guarantee it was because essentially virtual school was going to be and is a new school for Jefferson. So essentially your students would be taking 2 spots in 2 schools, which really you can't do. So we heard that gave you a lot of anxiety, and which then gave us a lot of anxiety. So what we decided to do instead was within our information system, and it's a very complicated system, but instead of pulling your child out of their homeschool and putting them into virtual school, we have kept your child at your home school, and we have marked them as taking the course virtual school. So your student's name will still be in their home school. Another thing we have done is we have paused intra-district transfers the best we could for now. So for example, suddenly a family who's really wanted to come to Thomas Edison, but it's always been full, now sees, oh, there's 100 virtual school kids that are out of that school now. I'm going to try to transfer into it while they're lined up at virtual school. We have paused that so that families will not be able to transfer this school year. We will go back to our transfers next school year. We have also made it so all your materials pickup, all your technology pickup, your lunch pickup is all tied to your home school. So you still feel a part of your home school. The only way that we wouldn't be able to 100% guarantee that you could go back to your homeschool is if someone new moved into Daly City, moved into your homeschool zone, and needed to register for school and wanted the hybrid. So if all those things happen, we would have to offer one of the spots to that family who is new to Daly City and wants the hybrid. If they want virtual school, no problem, we can put them in virtual school. But given the climate of the Bay Area, we don't have, the trend is not people moving into the Bay Area. The trend is people are moving out of the Bay Area. So we really don't foresee this as a problem, but it is the reason we cannot guarantee it because we don't know who's going to move where. But please know that we hear you. We have put so many things in place to make sure that your child returns to the homeschools. And same with our teachers. We heard the same thing from our teachers who got pulled out of their home sites, whether or not they wanted to or needed to. We have an understanding with them that they too will return to their homeschools. So all around, we got a little anxious, but I'm hoping that we can all take a deep breath and know that we are all coming from a good place and want the best for all of our families and for our teachers. So let's just take a look at who is coming to virtual school. We know this was a huge decision for your family, and for whatever reason that you made it, take a deep breath. The decision has been made, the plan is in place, and school is going to start. Now, this graphic was made on August 4th, and though our enrollment has climbed since August 4th, the spread of the students and where they're coming from has remained quite steady. So this still is a quite relevant slide here. So you'll notice if some of your friends from school sites are going to be here, absolutely will be in a classroom with students from other schools. There's not one class that has all from one home site. So it's a great opportunity to get to know new people and learn from new teachers, and maybe some people that are on your sports team will end up in your class but live across town. So that should be fun for the kids. Here's what our grade level spread looks like. Again, this was from August 4th, but our spread has remained pretty steady. Here's our teaching staff. And as our virtual school attendees is increasing daily, our staff then has to increase daily. As you can tell, why we needed to kind of put a hard deadline on the enrollment is because we needed to make sure that we had the staff hired and trained to reach the capacity that we were at with our students. So all over the district, we have people representing every single school site. And let me tell you, I have been working with this amazing group. And actually, I might even be missing one or two off of this list from when I actually did the presentation. So I apologize that there's a few more here. I have been working with this crew now for a couple of weeks, and you are in for a treat. They are all ready to tackle this head on. We have done hours of training on the program and building community within the staff. And I really feel like you're going to be in great hands with this staff. And I'm sure you see some familiar faces. Now, your student may be assigned to a teacher from their homeschool, and they may be assigned from somebody from a different homeschool, but they're all Jefferson School District teachers. So what does it look like to have the family support? So we are obviously asking you that you need to have the technology ready for the kids. So we need to have a Chromebook or an iPad. A Chromebook is preferred, but if you have an iPad, it will work, and a hotspot. If you don't have either of those, a request was sent out to everybody through their homeschool, and it's also on the district website. Those of you that filled it out and possibly have already picked it up, that's great. If you didn't get the form, don't know where the form is, but you need the technology, no problem. We ask that you call your homeschool and let them know your request. I would do this sooner rather than later, given that school starts on Wednesday or Thursday. If you don't have your equipment yet, no problem. But it is available to everyone who needs it. If you don't need it, you don't need to borrow it. We will have workbooks that go along with our program. They are not available to us yet. We will get them to you. We will do a materials pickup from the district office or your homeschool once those workbooks arrive. Until they arrive, we plan on either modifying the lesson that it's needed, turn it into a Google Doc, or even making some photocopies and handing it out to the families as well. So once we get to that point, we will inform you of what we've decided to do. We did talk a little bit at length in July about a learning coach, and having a learning coach is vital to the success of eduannuity because the kids cannot interact with the teacher that is on the lessons. It is a recorded lesson. We really need that learning coach sitting with the child and working through the lessons, especially the little guys. And you got to click here, then you got to click there, and now you have to click over here, and they'll get it. They'll get it. It'll become a very good routine for them. But the first couple of weeks, if you don't have a learning coach with them, it's not going to work. We really need them. We need a learning coach there. And that can be an older sibling, that can be a grandparent, aunt or an uncle. Some of you might have a couple of kids that are on virtual school with us. And so you might be your learning coach, but you're being shared by two kids, no problem. We just ask that you're nearby because they're going to have questions the first couple of weeks for sure. So this last slide, just again, want to reiterate that we are pretending that this is a classroom. They need to be at a desk. They need to be at a table. If they had headphones, even with a microphone, even better. Even these things that I am wearing will work. It has a microphone on them. There is some activities embedded in the program where they need to read. So then it records it and then the teacher listens to it, or they record some of their answers through voice. So they will need to have some kind of way to talk to the computer and headphones to kind of get out the disturbances from around them. And of course, dressed. It's not pajama day on Wednesday. It's not pajama day on Thursday, and it's not pajama day on Friday. So the kids need to be dressed, sitting at a desk, and ready to attend class. Just I wanted to reiterate again this week, I don't want anyone to freak out. We're not logging on to eduannuity right away. It is okay if you don't have your technology ready to go on Wednesday. Just like we do in traditional school, we take the week to get to know our students, and the students get to know us. So we're going to play get to know you activities. You do have to log on at 8:30 if you have your tech, but otherwise it's a meet and greet. We're going to slowly walk through how to use Edgenuity, get to know you games, even do some independent practice work. Maybe go read a chapter of a book that you might have and then come back and tell us what it's all about. And these activities are just to get the kids used to the computer and used to the teacher. We would do this in traditional school. You just get an insight to what we've been doing in traditional school. So for communications, I want to reiterate that email. If you did not receive an email from me on the 14th or the 17th, and I'm going to send you another one tomorrow, we either don't have you confirmed at virtual school, your email address was wrong when it was written on the forms, and we need to call the district office and get that fixed, or I'm sitting in your spam box. So please, please, please check that out. I get a lot of emails saying, nobody ever told me, nobody ever told me. So if you can please do those before you email me and say, nobody ever told me, that would be great. I'm losing it. My screen went away, but luckily I have it memorized. Oh no. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, but I know what the last one said. We do have a Facebook page. If you go to at JESD as in dog, the letter V and S for virtual school, JESD virtual school. I post things on there regularly and will continue to post things on there. And then of course the email and your teacher's Zoom calls, and your teacher will be sending out emails to you as well. And you'll get a newsletter, a bi-monthly newsletter about what's happening at virtual school. So that is all that I have to overwhelm you with. I hope that I answered a lot of the questions. If you have extra questions, I know we have a few minutes to answer some questions. If we don't get to your questions, please check out the Facebook page if you have it, check out the website if you have it, and check your email inbox if you got it. So Dr. Joyner, do you want to help me with a couple of questions?
Yes. So the first question is, what is the size for the virtual school class?
It's the same as traditional school. So whatever the teacher contract is, I believe it's 24 for K3. Up in 4th grade, we get to 32, and then we get to 34 in the middle school. So it will be the same. Now, the first day, you might see a couple of extra kids in your class, and that's okay. We're just trying to make sure everyone gets logged on. The dust is going to settle. People are going to realize maybe they're in the wrong class, and we will get our classes to the right size. But that is our goal. Same as traditional school.
Next question. My child is in special ed. What is their curriculum like?
Awesome. So if your child is an SDC class, then they should not be enrolled in virtual school. They have a different virtual program. If your child has an IEP or a 504, they will be using the Eduannuity curriculum, but we have 2 resource specialists that will be working with our general ed teachers and working on the minutes in your IEP and to support your children. The goals will remain the same, and we will work on your child's goals.
Do we need to use a Chromebook, or can a Windows desktop with webcam be used?
Yes, all of the above will work.
So we never heard back to an email we sent out because this, Is there an option to opt out?
If you want to opt out before school starts, you need to call the district office immediately. Once school starts, we are in a year commitment, and you can imagine why. We've had to hire staffing and move staffs all around the school district to meet the needs of our class sizes in virtual school and in the hybrid model. So we do have a year commitment for virtual school students. If come December, the end of a semester, we need to talk individually with families wanting to move back into hybrid, we will have that conversation then. But after tomorrow morning at about 9 o'clock, if you're in virtual school, you are in virtual school.
And if you do want to switch out now, please email me. My email address is hjoyner@jeffsonesd.org. That's hjoyner@jeffersonesd.org. Is every module or lesson timed?
Yes. The videos are timed. Obviously, they're pre-recorded, so we know exactly how long they are. The videos run anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes. And then that is, first your child would watch the video, and then the teacher would assign an independent lesson, whether or not they watch the video and then do a write-up, or an independent lesson and a learning game. So it's always linked with some sort of activity. So it's a watching of a lesson and then an activity linked together. But the videos run about 20 to 30 minutes.
Can the child replay the lesson if they don't get it?
Absolutely. As many times as they want. The only thing they cannot do, especially, I think it's in middle school, the middle school platform and the K-5 platform look a little different. So if you have two kids, a middle schooler and a primary grade, the platforms look a little different. And one thing they caught on, which my middle schooler would definitely do, is you cannot fast forward the lessons and say that you're done. After you've watched the whole lesson one time, then you can rewind and fast forward as much as you want. But the initial watch, you cannot fast forward. You have to watch the whole thing.
How will the teacher know if the child is stuck on the same lesson?
Well, there's be a couple of different ways, and maybe need clarification on what stuck is. A lot of the lessons have interactions. The kids have to type things in on the computer. And so if the child is continually getting something incorrect as they're typing in, that notifies the teacher, and the teacher will see how many times a student attempted an assignment and what they got out of the assignment. And that's when, in the office hours for the kids, the teacher can re-engage the student that way. The teacher can also see how much time they've spent on the lesson. So if the student has spent 2 hours on a 20-minute lesson, that is a red flag for the teacher to reach out to that student and find out what is going on. The system also is able to tell whether or not the child was just sitting idle for 2 hours, or if they were engaged 2 hours, because I think that's a different challenge to overcome for the kids.
What if the answer was a typo? Can it be changed?
I guess it would depend on what it is that they are doing. Typos would most likely happen in the middle school. And I don't have an exact answer for that, but I can definitely look into it. I'll write it down right now.
Are they using the same login?
They have never received this login for the eduannuity platform. That we will give to them sometime this week. To log into their school account, to log into their email, that is the one that they have always used. And if they don't know that, your teacher has it and can get it to you. Well, your teacher will have it tomorrow when I give it to them, and then the teacher can give it to you. The 6th through the middle school program, the eduannuity app will be on Clever. For the K-5 program, we are still working through where we are going to put that on a landing page for you.
For middle school, will they have only one teacher?
Yes. Well, I take that back. The middle school, yes, they are assigned one teacher. However, the teachers are being extremely collaborative, and it's really going to benefit your students. So if we have, for example, a rock star math teacher in 7th, we have 5 7th grade teachers, 4 or 5 7th grade teachers. If one of them is a rock star math teacher, we might have some of the kids log into their support group, that teacher support group, for a little additional support. But in general, every middle schooler has one teacher.
And can you talk again about where and when to pick up the computer?
Sure. Again, on the webpage under virtual school, there is a document that says every homeschool has a different pickup date and a different pickup time. And it is listed there on that document. If you need that document, I can also send it to you. And I can put it out on the Facebook page tonight too, if I can find a PDF of it. I will send that out. But when in question, call your homeschool. Your homeschool will have it. We don't have anything for you at the district office. So your homeschool is where you're going to get your technology.
How are we getting lunch menu?
Go to the virtual tab, or the virtual tab has the lunch menu. I don't know if it's a lunch menu, but it's the lunch pickup schedule and where to do the pickup. Also, I think the front page of the Jefferson webpage also has all the lunch information, the pricing, the pickup. I believe you're picking up several lunches in one day, so you don't have to come to school every day to pick it up. And the student, I know, does not have to be in the car when you do the pickup. It's pretty much drive up, pop your trunk, the lunch goes in, and you drive off. So it's a great way to grab some lunches for your family.
When will we know who will be our children's teacher?
Excellent question. That is what I'm hoping for tomorrow night before you go to bed. You can imagine we started this program thinking we were going to have about 300 kids, and we are close to 1,300. So we are working around the clock. I don't foresee myself going to bed anytime soon, and we will get all the teachers' lists prepared so they can get it to you tomorrow.
Is there any homework pickup for virtual school on a regular basis, or is everything going to be paperless and online?
Everything is paperless and online until we get K-5, the workbooks. Once we get K-5 workbooks, we will be passing them out to you, but you don't physically turn in the workbooks. It's going to be take a picture of your workbook with your webcam or your phone and send it into your teacher. Or if you don't have access to that, during your live support time with your teacher, you can say, here's my workbook, and he will screenshot it and take a look at the work.
Can a 5th grade student on virtual school be able to attend outdoor ed? Outdoor ed is canceled for this year. Can you repeat the Facebook page?
Sure. It's the initials of the district, JESD as in dog, JESD, and then the letter V for virtual and the letter S for school, virtual school. So JESD as in dog, VS.
Can I switch virtual to hybrid in the future?
That's what we were talking about, in that we hope that it's a year commitment to the program. And the reason why it's a year commitment is because though we are covering the same standards that the hybrid program is covering, we're covering the same content, grade level, Common Core standards, but we might be doing them at a different pace than the hybrid program, or in a different order. So if you stick with virtual school, say for the first semester, and we've covered standards, all the odd standards for the grade level, and then you switch over to hybrid, well, they may have already covered some of the odd and some of the even. So the students may lose a little bit of curriculum content standards when you make the switch. If for those families that absolutely need to make the switch come December, January, we will work with you and let you know where the holes are if they need to make up a little work during the winter break. We will work on finding that out. So that is why we highly discourage jumping programs.
There's a few questions about switching back to hybrid. So if you are enrolled in virtual school and you would like to switch back to the hybrid program, please email myself, Dr. Joyner, tonight or by the end of business day tomorrow. My email address is hjoyner@jefffersonesd.org. That's hjoiner@jeffersonesd.org.
I'd like to take a minute just to go back to one question that we were talking about earlier, if they make a typo. One of my wonderful teachers who is listening to us right now on YouTube sent me a text message and remembered something from the training that I did not. And that is that if the student wants to retake or needs to retake an assessment or a quiz, the teacher is able to give them a retake. And if that is where the typo was, and or if the student has made a mistake while they're interacting with the video, a typo or whatnot, they can always Google chat or send a quick email to the teacher and the teacher can refresh it and restart it.
If we have a problem logging on, how do we let the teacher know?
We'll have Google Chat. You can always email them. The teachers are going to be working the same hours that your students are logged on, so they are always able to interact with your children, even if they're not online with them. So I suggest Google Chat, and the teachers will go over their preferred method. Might be Class Dojo, it might be Seesaw, or it might be Google Chat, but they will definitely go over that within this first week.
There's a few questions about special ed. So if your student has an IEP or a 504 and they are not in SDC, please send myself an email. Your teachers will be reaching out, but we want to ensure that we have you and your student identified. If your student is in SDC, please call your home school. SDC students have their own virtual program. It is not with virtual school. They have their own virtual program, so please reach out to your home school. Is there a phone number we should call?
That is an excellent question.
You can call the district office and ask to speak to Dr. Joyner.
There you go.
Can you provide the email address and who to contact to opt out from virtual learning? Again, that's hjoyner@jeffersonesd.org. That's hjoyner@jeffersonesd.org. If a child gets a bad score on the work they have done, will they be able to retake?
I'm certain that something can be worked out with the teacher. I think it would up to the teacher's discretion as to why maybe they got the bad grade. But it's just like traditional school. If your child has tried their best and need a retry, then of course the teacher is going to make it available for them. If they were sloppy and lazy and wanted to go through it quickly, again, it's going to be up to the teacher's discretion, but the ability is there.
Will they still have PE?
As of right now, no one is having PE. I believe it's an independent, Dr. Joyner, maybe you want to correct me if I'm wrong, but it's an independent PE at this point. If county and health guidelines allow for after winter, maybe into the spring, that we can bring PE back on campus, it will be available to our virtual school students as well if you wanted to come on campus. But as of right now, there is no PE happening on campus.
And your students, their teachers can do some virtual PE with them during their morning groups or whenever the teacher meets with them. So essentially she's asking, is there going to be a lot of assignments? Can you speak a little bit just about how the program operates itself?
Sure, a lot of assignments. Most of the assignments, or all of the assignments, will be completed during the school day. The assignments are a video lesson followed by an independent activity for the 4 content areas. We will not be having homework unless they did not log on to their lesson during the school day for whatever reason, and then they would have to make up that video lesson at some point before they go to bed. But otherwise, there is no additional homework. If a teacher feels like the child could benefit from some additional support, then the teacher will reach out to the parent and let them know and make arrangements as to whether or not that's something that the family can support at home. We know that everybody has different things going on at their home and they have different obligations. So having additional work may not be optimal for some families, but those families who are able to support that, then that's something we can talk about with the teacher. But otherwise, all assignments should be able to be completed within the school day.
Are the kids going to be online all day?
As you can see from the schedule, no, they're not on all day. They pop on for attendance. They take a little break. They pop on to their 2 video lessons. They take a break. They pop on with their teacher to see how the lessons went. They go for movement. They go for lunch. They're not online during those times. And at the end of the day, they pop on for about 40 minutes for their science and social studies lesson. And they should be off screens. Don't let them tell you any different. They should be off screens by 2:30 for our oldest crowd and 1 o'clock for our younger crowd. I'd ask you to refer to the schedules that were showed earlier in the presentation.
What if we don't get an assigned teacher on the first day of school?
Then that means I fell asleep. It's coming. It's coming, people. If it's something doesn't happen because there's a rolling blackout at my house or at the district office, we will reach out to you in some way, shape, or form and let you know what's happening. But I do ask that the district office staff and the teachers are really working around the clock to make this program rich and engaging. And please know that everything we are doing, we are coming from a really good place. So if we can all just have grace when communicating with one another, I think that will make us all feel better. This whole rolling blackout on the first day of virtual school, I mean, who could have ever planned for something like this? So we're rolling with it. We need you to roll with us. And of course, we are here for you. If we don't email you back immediately, it's not because we're not trying to get to you. We are prioritizing and trying our best. So thank you for your support, for all the families out there who have sent letters of support. And we hope we are trying our best to communicate with you.
If I cannot pick up the laptop at the time specified, can I pick it up earlier?
Got to call the homeschool.
Is there a school supply list that we need to look into?
At this time, we do not have a supply list for our virtual school students. The homeschools have made supplies available for the hybrid students, and you are eligible for those supplies. However, you will not necessarily need them. Our interaction is on the computer. Hybrid students have some interaction on computer and some interaction on independent work. As of right now, you do not need anything. If something more comes up and there's a science experiment that may require something, the teacher will forewarn you and let you know, hey, do you happen to have some Cheerios lying around the class? We're going to need it for the lesson tomorrow. Do you have a sewing needle? You might need it for the lesson tomorrow. But otherwise, the only thing that you need is a desk, a computer, and a Wi-Fi.
The district, each site is providing all students with school supplies. So your student, when you pick up the computer, school supplies more than likely will be with the computer. And that's just for your extra use, but we do not require school supply lists.
I'm being told that if you're searching for the Facebook page and you can't find it under JESD VS, you can put in JESD Virtual School and hopefully that will pop it up.
Would the virtual homeschooling be available for future years if we are interested in continuing with this option?
Let's get through this year first. It seems, there are so many great benefits to this program. And I think we need to do it 1 year and see how successful it can be, and then make a decision on whether or not it's something that we can continue to offer.
What about graduation?
Yeah, that has come up a lot. And to be honest with you, it's not something that we have thought through at this point. We're kind of focused on Wednesday right now. But we know that is important to our families and definitely important to our students. So it is something that is on our to-do list. It's just not something we have gotten to at this point.
Is 504 part of SDC?
No.
Is there a confirmation sent that your child is enrolled in virtual school?
Well, if you received the emails, that is a confirmation that you have been confirmed. I sent out over 1,300 emails and I did have 118 bounce back to me. So again, if you did not get an email from about virtual school, I've sent 2, one on the 14th, one on the 17th. I would contact the district office tomorrow and make sure that your email address is up to date.
So the question is about, I shouldn't worry about my kid's device. I have not been contacted yet for either of my kids. you should contact your home school and ask them when device distribution will be. It'll be sometime this week. So please contact your home school to pick up your device. And one thing I did want to add, if you need a hotspot because you do not have internet availability, please let your school site know that you do need a hotspot. If you have internet and is slow, please do not request a hotspot yet. We have to provide hotspots to families that do not have internet connection first. Once that's done, then if you want to reach out and let us know that you may need a hotspot because your internet is slow, then let us know. But give us about a week or so before you do so.
And if you do not need tech, you do not need to use our tech. You do not need to borrow. If you have one at home already, fantastic.
So my daughter is in kindergarten. I just want to clarify, we have to take a picture of every assignment they do and submit their work to the teacher, or is there a button where they click that will submit their work automatically to the teacher?
Both. No, every assignment does not need to have a picture taken of it and sent in. Most of the activities are interactive, meaning they're using their keyboard to answer the questions. That's the majority. Every once in a while, there is a workbook page, or the workbook page also comes out as a printable PDF when they're working through the lesson. We realize not everybody has printers at home, which is why we purchased the workbooks. If it is a workbook page that needs to be turned in, there are a couple of options. There is a button. Some of the primary grades use an app called Seesaw or Class Dojo, and I know I did it with my kids constantly last year. They literally just hold it up, they press one button on their keyboard, it takes a picture, sends it to the teacher. If you're not comfortable with that, you can take a picture with your iPhone, email it to the teacher. Eduannuity also has a platform built in. If you happen to have a webcam on your camera, it'll just say, hold the paper up and press this button, and it goes straight to the teacher. So it is very simplified. If you find that it is becoming overwhelming for you to keep up with, which I don't think it will, please reach out to us. That is the last thing we want. We do not want to overwhelm families in this time and age. We're trying to simplify things as much as possible. So if you feel like you are overwhelmed, please reach out to your teacher so we can make the correct accommodations.
Can you repeat about how they're going to get onto Edgenuity, about the link and password?
Yes, though we are not worried about that this week, right, everybody? We are not worried about that this week. But when we are worried about it, we have all the student IDs and we have all the passwords. You do not. I get a lot of emails saying, I can't find mine when you sent it to me. Well, I never sent it to you. So we will give that all to them. We will email it to them. We can email it to the parents as well. Every student, once they actually do log on to Eduannuity, they have their own profile page that parents can log on to at any time and see how their child is doing. Plus it has their email, plus it has their password. So we will get all of that information to you. We will send it all to you, and we will walk the kids through how to log on when we get to that point.
And this is another question about technology. So let me just say, if you have not heard from your home school about technology, that means the device and or a hotspot, please contact your home school and let them know that you do need a device. And if you need a hotspot, please let them know that you need a hotspot. Will the grading be based off of all students from both hybrid and virtual school?
I don't know what you mean by that. Everybody's grading is individual. We are working on what the virtual school report card will look like, whether or not we can transfer it to our regular Jefferson report card, or if we will be distributing something different. That is something, again, that is on our to-do list, but needs to be done by Wednesday. So it is something we were looking at. But otherwise, everyone's grade is individual. And as you saw in the, at least in the middle school clip, that you will always know your child's grade in every course that they're in. So
if my child opted out from virtual school, how will I know that he is enrolled in hybrid?
They're automatically enrolled in hybrid. You have to opt into virtual. And if you took yourself off of virtual, you're in hybrid. There's no other options.
And please contact your school. If you're in middle school and you do not receive a schedule, please contact your home school to let them know that you need a schedule. Will they get awards in virtual school as a motivation?
Yes, and teachers were actually talking about that in our staff meeting earlier, that yes, similar to when you're doing our traditional school, we have a PBIS model, and we like to reward students for their behavior and their willingness to persevere, especially through something like this. Every classroom will be different, but there will certainly be rewards. A reward.
Sorry, if our Chromebook is not working well, can we switch it anytime?
Certainly. You just need we don't do Chromebooks, virtual school. Don't call me and Heidi. Call your homeschool.
Once we email Dr. Joyner to move our child from virtual to hybrid, how will we know if our email was received and request honored? How will confirmation be received? When you email me, I will respond to your email and let you know, and it will be confirmed. Please repeat info about securing our spot at our homeschool.
Oh boy. Just for the sense of time here, I know it's 7:15. This is being recorded, and I will post it up on the virtual tab website, the virtual school tab. It can be posted there, and you could look at it there. But we heard what you were saying. Everyone was very anxious about losing their spot in their homeschool, and we've made what we feel is a considerable amount of accommodations to make you feel secure that we are doing our very best to put you back at your homeschool, and our teachers too, back at their homeschool.
So last two questions. We're going to take these last two questions. If your question has not been answered, please email me. My email address is hjoyner@jeffersonesd.org. That's hjoyner@jeffersonesd.org. So our last two questions. I just missed it. Oh, will students have electives, or will they not have electives, or only certain electives?
Yes, so we are definitely planning on students, especially in the middle school and actually K-5, to have some kind of electives. Again, it's not for Wednesday, so it is on the to-do list, but we are actually had a meeting about that today as to which electives that we will be offering the students. In some cases, it will be within eduannuity, and it will be a video lessons within the elective of their choice. And also, remember, I mentioned that in the springtime, if they'd like to select PE as an elective, that will hopefully make that available to them too, if they want to come back on campus.
And then the last question, is it okay if uniforms are worn instead of dresses or street clothes?
You want to wear a uniform? Or as a parent, you probably do. We don't have a uniform for virtual school. I guess the dress code would be not pajamas, but otherwise it's up to each individual family what they would like to be on camera. One thing I actually did not mention, which is extremely important, that we learned from last year, your child's camera must be on. It is very challenging to make a connection with a black screen. So please, 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 and I've asked the teachers to enforce this. They must have their camera on, so make sure they're not in the pajamas. But we need to be able to see them, to make a deeper connection with them, to read their body language so they can read our body language. Very important to have their camera on.
That's it.
Hold on, I have one more late breaking news. So my amazing staff of virtual school has been sending me little updates throughout the presentation. So this latest one is about if you're looking for the Facebook page for us. It says you can search for, if you go to the page tab on Facebook and then search for JESDVS, you will find it. So hopefully you'll find us one way or another. If you did find it and you like us, you can share us with your family and really make us get out there in the community, and that way more people are informed, because we really want to inform you as much as possible. I am a parent of 3, and I yearn for the communication from my children's school, because I know how important it is for us to plan our day, our work schedules. So we really appreciate you taking the time to be here with us this evening. If we give you information overload, again, we did record the session, and give me till tomorrow before noon to get it posted up on our virtual school tab at the Jefferson Elementary School District webpage. So you can watch us as many times as you'd like. But if that doesn't answer any questions, you can certainly reach out to myself or Dr. Joyner. If it has anything to do with technology and Wi-Fi, please go to your homeschool. Thanks, everyone.
Have a great evening. Thank you.
Have a good evening. Thank you to our translators.
Thanks, ladies. I'll send you an email tomorrow. Thanks, Bruce.
You're welcome. I'm going to go ahead and stop the webinar now. Is that good?